Where is your thermostat control? And you may be thinking, what is that all about? I promise I will guide you through it and teach you all about it. I am Dr. Torres-Leon, the founder of alifepartner.com. And this is a question that I have received many times from people in my community. And the question is, how can I stop arguing with my partner? If you think about it and you feel into that question, it's a monumental question because this is something that all human beings we deal with and we struggle with. And I'm going to guide you through this 3-step process so that you can immediately recognize when these moments are happening and you can actually get out of it so that you don't really go into a situation where it escalates into something a lot bigger, where you have to be having conversations to take things back or regret the fact that you said something or you hurt somebody you loved. The beautiful thing about this 3-step process, which is very easy to do, is that you can really practice it not only with your partner, but also with every single person in your life. Loved ones, family members, people at work. It really applies for any human interaction. And it's what I have found it to be the easiest way to be able to get in that spot within me where I can recognize it and basically apply this. So very quickly I can dissolve the situation, diffuse the situation, and be able to actually get to a point where you have a win-win situation. It's not about being passive aggressive and just simply dismissing somebody so that you're not quote unquote engaging the situation and not having a problem with them. That's really not very loving either. So the first thing is we all have certain triggers. You and I both have the buttons that if they're pressed and they have not been addressed, they're actually going to set this whole thing on fire. So the first step in this whole thing is bringing awareness to what are those things that are your triggers. And nobody really takes the time, and I've done it and I teach it, to basically sit down and say, okay, let me just go through what are the list of things that really irritate me, that annoy me, that if those buttons are pushed, I'm just going to be so pissed, I'm going to be so upset that no matter who's in front of me, whether it's my wife, my husband, I'm just going to ream right through them and go right through them. Bringing that awareness, that sense of what is it that creates that for you is super key. And perhaps this may be a good moment for you to actually stop this video and just say, okay, I'm going to take a piece of paper and write down what is the list of things that really bother me. What are my triggers? And that's going to be important because in step number 2, there are going to be 2 questions. And the questions are going to be posed to yourself the moment that you start to recognize that those events that trigger you, that list of things that you actually already wrote down, are starting to come up. And I want to tell you, you have a lot of cues that happen in those moments when you're starting to get irritated, to get annoyed. And the thing is that typically we don't connect the dots and think, oh, that is that trigger and it's actually creating something in me. And those cues are body cues, or physiologic cues. What do I mean by that? Well, it could actually be you start to feel almost like pressure on your forehead or pressure on your neck. The second thing may be you start to feel your heart is racing, palpitations, like almost like your heart wants to get out of your chest. Perhaps you start to feel so anxious or so irritated, annoyed, frustrated, angry, that you start to sweat in the moment as you're hearing the person say whatever it's being said that is just triggering the crap out of you. Those are all physical cues that are coming from the physiology, all the chemistry that is happening inside of you that are telling you that something is just not right and you're not comfortable. The moment you start to sense those things that are really bothering you, that are cueing these physical reactions that are mediated by the physiology of your body, you basically say to yourself, aha, and there's 2 questions that are part of step 2. The first question is, what am I feeling in this moment? This is absolutely crucial to be able to resolve this conflict, this argument, and create a win-win situation. It is important because the more that you get in tune with what is it that you're feeling, the easier it will be to actually address those feelings that you're having and start to explore what are the sources that are creating that. Am I irritated? Am I angry? Am I feeling completely dissed in this moment by what's being said? Completely thrown under the bus? Am I feeling unloved? Completely not cherished? What is it that you're feeling? Your body is an incredible, powerful tool that in these moments can really support you in being able to navigate this moment, go beyond it, and start to recognize it on a quicker basis, so that the next things that are happening or next occasions when it happens, you'll be so much more in tune to be able to get to this point. The second question as part of this step 2 that you have to be asking yourself is, what tone of voice am I going to use as I am communicating with this person that I don't want to have an argument with, or maybe you're in the middle of an argument with? It's very essential, because the tonality of our voice, it says a lot about your inner state. Are you frustrated? Are you completely unhappy about what's going on? Are you in a state of confusion? Are you angry about what is it that you're experiencing in this moment? And the tonality can actually impact tremendously the outcome of this conversation. It can actually make it or it can break it. And because you have been going through this quick step process, you get to choose how is it, after you checked in with the question of how is it that you're feeling in this moment, you get to choose what is the tonality that you want to bring to this moment, so that you can create a win-win situation. Is absolutely essential. The final step on how to be able to avoid getting into these arguments with your loved ones is the following. You must be clear. What does that mean? Bringing clarity to this moment is essential. And this is something that you can actually have before you even come into these moments. I'll give you an example. If my wife and I are getting into a situation where we have a disagreement and things are starting to boil, the temperature is starting to rise, like I was saying, where is the thermostat control setting? I already know that every time that I'm going through this process, a 3-step process, my goal is to create a win-win situation, a harmonious resolution to whatever is happening. And these steps are going to actually assist me to do that. But I have already predetermined that this is something that is essential for me in conflict resolution. I am already prepared before I even get here that this is whatever I'm going to be dealing with her. This is going to be the outcome. I'm going to be creating harmony in the situation. And that doesn't mean that I am not going to be talking about the things that I really want to have come across and be communicated, be conveyed to her. But it really determines how my whole state of how I communicate, my energy as I approach this, is going to be impacting ultimately how is it that we want our outcome to come out to be. Whether she's aligned with that, not understanding it, or understanding it. I can assure you that essentially 100% of the time, by following that 3-step process, you will have a completely different outcome about the situations. And that's what I call looking into the thermostat control, looking into what is the temperature of this moment, the temperature of this situation, so that it doesn't rise more than it needs to, and it doesn't escalate to having a situation where you have to lament and regret what you've done. If you like this content, I would love for you to actually subscribe to our newsletter so you can continue to receive our content, and also share it, because when you share it, like it, and subscribe, we are creating a tremendous impact in the others that are receiving it. And you never know, as I like to call it, the ripple effect of how this is going to go to somebody else that you don't even know, that can create a significant change for them, an impact that can potentially stop really grave things from happening, and situations that we don't want to be lamenting later. So thank you so much for listening to this. Stay tuned for the next video on the how-to things here in a life partner. And until then, just prepare yourself by looking into the 3-step process. Get ready for that. And I would love to hear some of your comments as to how this landed for you and how you've been able to implement it and create changes for you in your life. Until next time, I am Mario Torres-Leon, founder of LifePartner.com, and I can't wait to see you on the next video. See you next time.